Hi, Professor Marcin. So for this assignment, I'm looking at the methods and myths assignment that you gave us, and for this I found really interesting because I kind of, heard a lot of these things that you had on your list before, but I never really thought about what they were or why people say them. So what I read through the book and found out was that myths are just theories. So really, all they are just things that people say about themselves that they think must relate to other people because they relate to them and they make sense to them in their mind. But I don't know, there's a lot of things that go along with that and saying that obviously one thing doesn't correspond to another. So that means that it's just a hypothesis and all they know is that it's what relates to them. So you can't prove these wrong and you can't prove them right either. And the reason you can't do that is because you can't use the scientific method. It makes it very hard to have a set, plan to measure different people and how they react to different situations. There's three things that really come into play when dealing with these kind of things, and they are complexity, variability, and reactivity. And the complexity one is just your brain is too complex. It is, you can't, there's so many neurons and everything in it that no one's been able to figure out in many, many years. So how would they be able to figure that out now to see what people are really thinking? They can lie about it, they can do so many things with it. The next one is that no one is the same. So if I'm put in a situation, I'm going to handle it a totally different way than if you were, or if my roommate was, or we all have such different backgrounds. It makes things totally different, and it's impossible to judge if one thing works for people from all over the place. And the other one is that you're going to act differently if you know that you're going to be observed. If someone's watching you and you know they're watching, you're going to act totally different than if you were just to do it on your own daily life. So that is the three problems that they have with trying to measure someone and keep track of how they feel about certain situations. So what I decided to do, I kind of paired up two of your options, and the first one was out of sight, out of mind, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. And for this, I decided just to kind of observe my roommates because I've been living with them for a whole year, and a couple of them do have boyfriends, some on missions, which, fit into the absence, and some that are here and just got engaged, stuff like that. So what I decided to do was just make it observable and not tell them, just, ask them questions here and there, wondering about how they were feeling with everything. And so the first one, out of sight, out of mind, I don't believe this is true for me. And when talking with my roommates, they also agreed to an extent. I believe that if you're having a problem with somebody and they're not right there in front of you, you're obviously going to get distracted and focus on other things more so. But if it's a big enough problem, that's always going to be in the back of your mind. And they all agreed and said the same thing as well whenever I asked them if a problem, was going on with them, if it was okay if the person that they were fighting with just wasn't there. And this also was a problem that they brought up with social medias, because even if they're out of your sight, if you're on social media and you're running through, you're going to see something that corresponds to that person or something that reminds you of them, and you're going to think about the problem again. And again, if the problem is big enough, you're going to be thinking about it no matter what anyway because you're worried about it. And so the next one is absence makes the heart grow fonder. And this, I have a missionary friend that I talk to. His name is Bo, and he's coming home in September. And so I kind of can say this is semi-true for me, but not in all instances. With the missionary, I believe this is true because as he left, I was really sad about it, but as time goes on and on and on, I'm more and more excited for him to come home. I don't know if that's necessarily because of the absence, it's made me more excited, or if it's just the time gone by that all of a sudden he's going to come home soon. Same thing with my roommates. I talked to them about their boyfriends that don't live close, and they said they don't really believe that's true because sometimes when you're apart from someone for so long, you learn how to be on your own. You learn how to handle situations on your own and not to rely on somebody else so much, so you don't really care about them quite as much. So that was just a couple of our things that we talked about, went back and forth about. The variables were just, different boyfriends, different backgrounds, different everything. We're all so different, but we all live in the same place, which is the same, and we all have different scenarios to bring to the table and to talk about with this observable behavior. All in all, this theory these theories were kind of back and forth for me, and like I said, they are just myths and just theories that people made up one day, and I don't feel like they hit me hard in the heart or anything, so I don't know, they don't really mean much to me, and my roommates agreed the same thing as them as well.